Hi guys, Harry Otis here, professional trader for 20 years now. Started my career in 2005 and still alive in 2026. So today, end of month liquidity. That is what we've been talking about for the past couple of days. Well, heading into the end of the month. Well, this is the end of the month, Tuesday, 30th of June. Looking forward to July. But so far we have that window dressing and liquidity coming into the game, okay? Now, I suspect this liquidity continues into July, okay, into the first 2-3 days up until the 4th of July at least, okay? So I'm still very bullish going forward just because of liquidity flows into the market. If nothing else happens, it's going to be liquidity flows that dominate, okay? So we'll talk about what we talked about yesterday, basically, the sectors that we're going to look at. And also I'm going to probably take most of the time today going over a new trade and going over yesterday's trade, okay? So we'll see what happens. First, the technical picture, guys, is still bullish. Huge run. We're consolidating this huge run, okay? Very, very bullish, okay? We don't even have to bring in the moving averages above the 50 this time. It was hovering around it, breaking it, but now still above it. Technically speaking, bullish sentiment because we're up today. We're at fear still above the border. We were at 25 on the border. Now we're at 31. So, okay, the momentum is picking up, but everything else is still at fear. We need the breadth to come up, and I'm seeing this. I'm really seeing some stocks here in the green today. Stocks you don't really see, but under the hood, I'm seeing some green, even though we have the semiconductors also in the green. So I don't know if we'll see. We'll see how the breadth goes going forward. Still, a lot of puts were bought, still in the fear, and yet the volatility here, we haven't seen that in a while. Let's look at the VIX. 16, not uber lows, getting to the lows of the recent lows, but not really at these, let's make it more clear, not really below the 14, okay? Or I get worried, or I started, not trying to go long as much when it drops below the 15. I mean, it can go all the way to 10, but look, it could stay at these levels for a long time with brief spikes. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for some spikes to get in, but we're not getting it. We would have had that spike if we continued lower here, but no. Monday and Tuesday today, the last 2 days of the month, were window dressing. So we're still very, very positive. However, I just don't know how it goes. If it breaks into new highs, okay, who knows? You just go with it, okay? So still looking for the same things in terms of the liquidity. I'm looking for liquidity to come in, and I'm also looking for the market to be bid and for these sub-indices to go into neutral greed, then extreme greed. Because I never have I ever seen extreme greed in this market for 2 years. I don't recall this whole move here. I don't recall any extreme greed at any highs. Okay, so greed, yes, but not extreme greed. But I have seen a couple of extreme fears. Okay, so it just goes to show you that the bears are still in it. People are still very, very bearish. Everything's going to blow up. AI bubble is going to blow up. Private equity is going to blow up. Something's going to blow up. Okay, well, we're not getting it right now. Yes, eventually you will be correct, but not right now. Okay, so let's go over some of the trades that I did. I did a new trade today on NVDA. Okay, I went long in the morning. I did an option spread. I think this move down is done. And if the market goes up, I think NVIDIA will go up with it. And I did a shorter term options play. This is what I did. Okay, let's get to the NVIDIA options, the calls, the puts. I looked at the July 17th series that expires in 17 days. So this is a shorter term trade. And what I did was I shorted the 185 puts in order to finance 2 times. Let's do it for 1 unit. We'll call this a 1 unit, okay? So I shorted 2 of the 185 puts, and I bought 1 of the 205 calls and sold 1 of the 215 calls. Okay, this is 1 unit all in one. And as you can see here, I literally bought a call spread and financed it with 2 puts. Okay, this is 1 unit. Okay, so for 1 unit at this price, it's closed at 70 cents to 44 cents credit. But I did in the morning, so I got $1.30 of credit. So if nothing happens in this entire trade and NVIDIA stays above 185, I'm going to make money. Okay, so let's look at the structure of this trade on this options platform. Okay, I like to use option strat. Okay, this is the trade right here. Let's look at the graph. I sold 2 times the 185 put, the July 17th expiry. I bought the 205 call, and I sold 215 call. Okay, this is the profit profile. As you can see, if the price goes above 215, I make the max profit, which is 1,627%. That's because I had a net credit, a very small credit. Okay, so basically anything, the break-even point is 184. So anything above 184, I'll make money. Okay, if it expires between 184 and 205, I will make the credit that I collected, which is $1.30. Okay, so the max loss is if NVIDIA goes to zero, you will be picking up 200 contracts of NVIDIA if it goes to zero by that time. So that's the max loss. Okay, so if it's not going to go to zero, but maybe a 50% haircut in NVIDIA will cost you just 15, 16, 17 grand. Okay, so but the chance of profit is 85%. There's an 85% chance in a couple of weeks there, by the 17th, NVIDIA finishes above 184.67. Okay, so this is the trade that I did. I'm using 2 puts to finance a call, and you can, this is the graph view of it, but if you want to look at it in terms of percentage return, it's deceptive because you can have thousands of percent return because your credit is so small that any move higher is going to be magnified. So I don't like to look at it like this. I like to look at it in the graph mode, where it's an 85% chance of profit, anything above that, and I'm willing to take delivery. If it ever goes down to this price, I'm willing to be long NVIDIA, because as you can see from the chart, we are close to a low here. 185 is was a level. Now it's going to serve as support. Okay, so I have a technical reason of picking this level, 185, and I think it goes between 205 and 215. This is a very probable move. Above 215 by July 17th is probable. And if it doesn't happen, I still collect a minuscule credit on this trade. So I can win either way. Okay, it's not 100%, it's 85% according to recent data. Okay, so that's it. That's the NVIDIA trade. I literally sold 2 puts, 1 unit. I did more than 1 unit, but if you want to do 1 unit, okay, it means 2 times short the 185 put, 1 long 205, 1 short 215 call. Okay, and this is your profit profile. So let's look back to yesterday, all the way back 24 hours ago, where we decided to enter the Nikkei, or Nike, Nike in Greek, which means winning. So I decided to buy it because the fundamentals were still strong, meaning, okay, there very bad news was coming out because of, since 2021, and actually really since 2023, because that was the bear market. Really since 2023, 2024, it's been on a downtrend. It went from 130 down to 40. That's huge drop. Okay, 4x. Okay, but as you can see, I like the fact that we had negative divergence. The price was going lower here, if you can see it. The price is going lower, and the RSI and MACD were higher. So I think the downward momentum was starting to exhaust itself. The market was already digesting the bad, already digested all the bad news. The tariffs, the China weakness, the direct-to-consumer management plan that they had. Okay, and they had this new manager who's going to come in and go old school. He's going to do more point of sale, more sports related marketing and sales tactics, just like they did in the beginning when they first became big. Okay, so they're going to return to the old school way of marketing and promoting Nike, which is great because Nike still has a very, very strong brand. So I wanted to buy a stock that has a strong brand. It's not going to go bankrupt. Okay, it's pretty liquid. It's still making money, even though less so. So today on the earnings, we had the earnings. Okay, and what did we see? Okay, let's go 14 minutes ago. Inventory revenue for the year, revenue is up 46 billion. It's actually up 11 billion, and the EPS 11 billion for the quarter and 72 cents EPS right here. If you can see it, this one right here, 11 billion and 72 cents. So what were they expecting? they're expecting 12 cents. So they really beat on the bottom line, which is great. And they sort of beat on the estimate. A little bit of beat on the revenue. So they beat on the top line slightly, but they dramatically beat on the bottom line. Okay, so what's the stock doing? The stock after market is down. So it's down like $1. Okay, it doesn't matter. I bought a longer term call option. Okay, let's model that one. Okay, so let's get rid of everything here. Remove. Let's go to Nike and get out of NVIDIA. Okay, what I did was we bought the 32.5 call, and it was December. Okay, so this is the profit profile. Let's jack it up here. Okay. So for every 100 shares that you did, your max loss is 1,000 because I did it at 32. So my break-even point, look, the break-even is actually up 4.8%. So even though I did a fairly long, it wasn't a leap because it's not exactly over a year to expiry, but it is fairly long. It was a long-term end of year type of trade. And since and I paid $10 for it. Okay, the chance of profit is 44%. It's almost like owning a stock because you can look at the delta. It's 83. So if it was 100 delta, it would be exactly like owning a stock in terms of the exposure. But it's like 83% chance of owning a stock. And since I bought it at 32, the price right now is what? 42. So basically breaking even. What is it right now? 41. So basically I'm $1.50 away from breaking even, which is basically a 5% move higher, which is very, very reasonable. It means that the call options were priced very well for this type of move. And what I plan to do as the time continues, I plan to sell calls, especially when it gets around to the 50 level. I plan to turn maybe an August call, a September call as it gets there. Okay, so recoup some of the cost because I did it for $10. Maybe I can do it for $5 to $10. Okay, so, and I'm hoping to do that maybe twice during its whole lifetime, lock in some profits. So that's how I look to play it. And the reason I wanted stock is because I know this is going to probably take a long time to play out. If it doesn't, great. If the stock just rips into the 55.60 right away, I will be covering with call, maybe sell calls that are worth $10 so I can't lose, and lock in a, I don't know, $25, $20, $27 profit if it goes to 60. It's very possible. But who knows? They're probably going to try to sell this thing down. We'll see. We'll see going forward. But I like the risk reward here. I like being long the stock with a downside here. My protection is right here, 32.5. Okay, so it's not that much. I'm willing to take that risk. I like that risk reward. Okay, so that's what we did, guys. Let's reiterate. We have end of month liquidity. We'll probably have beginning of month liquidity coming up in terms of like the beginning of the month flows where passive funds start buying into the index. I don't think we get that crash down. Sorry, guys. Hopefully, maybe. I mean, the bears are still active because it's still a lower high here. We could revisit the lows. It hasn't broken this downward channel, but to me, this is a flag or a sideways channel before ripping higher. Okay, let's see what happens at the end of the week. And remember, Friday is a big day. We had the big day in terms of inflation recently. The PC inflation was colder than expected, which is good for the wash. The narrative is wash is going to be hawkish, so everything is going to get killed. But if we get jobs report that is weaker than expected, another feather in our cap that inflation is going to be muted and wash is not going to be as hawkish because the market now is really piled on one side of super hawkishness on the wash front. If we get a little bit of relief to that trade on the other side, market, gold, oil, everything will re-rate. Okay, so let's see what happens on Friday with the jobs report. All right, later, guys.